Welcome back to another episode of the Deployment Diaries. I'm Kylie and I have Rayanna with me today. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. And who is that you have sitting with you?
Hi, thank you for welcoming me. This here is Max. He is a 6-year-old border collie, short-haired, that we rescued let me see, back in March of 2018, I believe.
Oh my goodness, he is adorable. Well, I am so excited to talk all about Max with you today. But before I do that, I would love to hear a little bit about your background and your military journey.
All right. So I am 29 years old, and I have been with my husband for 10 years. He is an active duty Marine stationed here at Camp Pendleton in Oceanside, California. Um, we have been through, let me see, 3 deployments, 3 years of, let me see, recruiting duty, and then we recently moved back to Camp Pendleton about a year and a half ago.
So you've been in with your husband a long time during his military journey. Congratulations. That's so exciting. I'm a military spouse myself, so I for one know that it is not the easiest thing in the world to go through. So I'm so excited for you guys. Congratulations on 10 years.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an adventure for sure.
Well, speaking of adventures, you mentioned that you rescued Max back a couple years ago. Can you describe for me a little bit about Max's personalities? Is there anything fun or quirky, unique about him? He's adorable.
Yeah, Max has a pretty big story. So yes, I did rescue him. He was about 4 months old. It was just one of those things where I was just scrolling on Facebook, in our local hometown. My husband was deployed actually at that time, and someone was, posting him to find him a home, and I saw his face, and I just instantly fell in love with him, because he's so sweet and he's very loving. Um, I like to call him a cyber dog. He is very energetic. He's really good with my kids. I have 4 kids, and he's really good with them. Um, we also call him a cyber jumper because he used to be able to clear a 7-foot fence, just
Holy moly.
dropping over it. Which could be part of the border collie in him because they're so energetic and they're made to herd. Um, and it shocked me completely whenever I got him. He probably wasn't even a year old when I realized that he was able to jump the fence.
That sounds like he is not border collie, sounds like he's a kangaroo.
Yeah, yeah,
7
yeah,
feet, I mean, I've heard of dogs clearing a couple feet fence, but 7 feet, I don't know, but it sounds like a record.
yeah. So we actually have a lot of history with Max. He got into an accident. Let me see. It was the day after Thanksgiving in 2019. My mom had came down to visit us, and we were on Camp Pendleton, and we decided that we were going to go to the Del Mar Dog Beach, to let the dogs roam around in the water. So we loaded up my 2 dogs. I have another dog. We loaded up the 2 dogs. She loaded up hers. We strapped them up and we put them in the bed of my husband's truck. We did not make it more than a mile, from the base when Max had jumped out of my husband's truck,
Oh gosh.
um, and he got run over.
Oh my gosh.
So we found out that we had ran over the front of his leg, so he fell under the bed of my husband's truck, and we ran over his legs. So me and my mom hurried up. We scooped him up, and we took him to the vet in Oceanside, where he later had to have surgery on both of his legs. So he has uh, metal plates for legs. Um, and believe it or not, he was still able to jump some fences after his surgery.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that you went through that experience. That had to be mortifying. I can't even imagine, but I'm very happy to hear that he still was able to continue his kangaroo ways.
Yeah, yeah, he's been an adventure. So that was, I think, a really hard time for us as a family too, because we were also getting ready to PCS. I think 3 months after the accident had happened, 3 or 4 months after the accident happened.
So did he
Um,
even have a whole lot of time to recover before that huge transition was going to take place?
yes, yes. So he actually had gotten his cast fully removed on Christmas Eve.
Oh,
Yeah. So since then, he's had some trouble with his legs, but he is still so full of life. I mean, he was still a puppy. He wasn't even a year old when the incident had happened. And I think it's kind of crazy to say, but when that incident happened, it just brought mine and his relationship so much closer than what it was.
I would say, speaking of growing closer with Max, you mentioned that you adopted and rescued him while your husband was on deployment. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's been like having Max in your life, especially during periods of time when your husband might not be around?
Yeah, so I grew up with a dog that was with me on his very first deployment, and he had actually passed away a little after my husband had gotten back. So it took me a while to want to love another dog again. I
Right.
think he was about 13 or 14 years old when he passed away. So I was like 8 or 9 when I had first gotten the dog. So I
So
had tried
he was your entire
fostering.
life.
Yeah, yeah. I had tried fostering 3 other dogs, and I just couldn't. I felt like I couldn't love the dog. Like, I cared for the dog because I do, I love animals, but there was no, like, connection with these other dogs. And then when my husband was deployed for the second time, or the third time actually, I I had no intention of getting another dog until I just seen him, and he has just been he's been a pain, but but I absolutely just love him. I have been through so much with him, and yeah, I mean, I think I have my dogs a lot that help me get through some of the hard days of, deployments and field ops and stuff like that.
Rescue dogs are just absolutely amazing, and they really do seem to find you at the right time, and I'm so happy that Max has been able to be there for you through all of the ups and downs that military life has thrown at you, and I'm happy to see that he seems extremely healthy and happy to be here, and he's doing well.
He is. He's doing pretty well, huh, boy?
So I
He,
understand that during one of your permanent change of station moves back to Camp Pendleton, Max actually had a little bit of another unique experience that happened. Can you tell me about the time that he went missing and what exactly happened and what that time was like for you?
whew, yeah, that was exciting. So
I
we
don't know if exciting is the word I'd use.
I guess it's funny now, but at the time it was crazy. Um, yeah, so we received orders back to Camp Pendleton in March of last year. I was 6 months pregnant at the time, and I do have 3 other kids, so I was pregnant with my fourth baby. One of our stops was to stop in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, since we were in Ohio at the time, and it was just a great opportunity to try to see a new city.
Well,
So
it's a
we
really fun city to see too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the city of country, right? So we stayed at an Airbnb, and knowing that he was able to jump the fences, we let him out in the back, and he was out there for maybe not even 10 minutes, and then we went to go let him back in, and he was gone.
Oh no.
Um, and it was a very stressful time because we were in a complete city that we had no idea of the area of what was going on. I looked into local Facebook groups, talked to the neighbors that were in the area from where at the Airbnb where we were staying at. And the community of East Nashville really helped me out a lot. We were on a hunt for Max for 2 weeks exactly. Um, Me and my husband every day when we would put our number out there, we put flyers out there, people would contact us, but nobody was able to catch him. He was running from everybody, he was jumping everyone's fences, yards, going everywhere, and so many people had spotted him and tried to catch him, and he was just like in a fight or flight mode. Like, he was just so scared, and we were still trying to move to Camp Pendleton, and my husband had a report date And we unfortunately were able to extend to stay in Nashville for about, maybe like 9 days or so. And finally, we had to leave. We had to continue to go on to our PCS, to California. A rescue had reached out to me from the locals that had tagged her. Her name is Joann, and she is from Dog Days Dogs Rescue, located in Nashville and in California. And she heard our story. We told her what was going on, and she was a professional dog trapper. So what she did was, her and a group of locals, they would go and set out dog traps for locations where people have spotted Max. And every time, someone spotted him, we made it aware, like, hey, please don't chase him, please don't approach him. Um, Finally, after 2 weeks, on this is crazy, on St. Patrick's Day night, she had said, hey, I'm not going to go out. My husband has a gig going on, and I have to be there for my husband. So me and my husband were like, okay, that's fine. We were in New Mexico, where we originally are from. And, it was just devastating that we lost Max, and we had no way of catching him. And all these people would text me and call me to tell me that they've seen him, and there was nothing that we could do. So she called me on St. Patrick's Day, and she said, you know what, Ray? She's like, I'm sorry. She said, I am going to go out and look for Max. She said, I told my husband that I fully support him. She's like, but the only thing I can think of is Max. So I said, Joanne, I said, if that's what you want to do, I completely support it. I said, and I thank you for that, for, thinking of my dog and thinking of my family versus, being there to support your husband. And lucky enough, she was able to catch him. And she texted me, it was about midnight, and she said, Rayanna, I got him. And
I I bet that relief just
it made me cry, to be honest, because I thought I was never gonna see him again. When we were leaving Nashville, I cried, and I told my husband that I felt so empty. I felt I felt like something was missing when we were leaving, like we were leaving him away. And also during that time, I not only lost my dog, I also lost my cat too.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was we were just like, we're never coming to Nashville again. There's
It's
clearly
cursed.
a good life here. Yeah, so it was just amazing to get him. And it took her about 2 days. She gave him a bath. He was covered in ticks. He was pretty skinny. You can tell that he hadn't been eating very much. We gave him like some heart medicine. And then we met with her halfway. We met her in, I believe it was Arkansas. And we were reunited with Max finally after 14 days on the run, huh? Yeah, not our finest moments, huh?
Well, I'm so happy to hear that you were able to be reunited with Max, and something that's always always so heartwarming to me is animal welfare and animal rescue advocates. They're I'm gonna try not to get emotional. I've been working in animal welfare for a while, and pets are family, and the amazing people that were able to step up and be there for Max and for you when you guys physically couldn't actually be there is it makes my heart so happy because I can't even imagine being so far away, your cat's gone, you're pregnant, that's a whole other, thing that just adds to that. I can't even imagine, and I'm so glad and so sorry that unfortunately you haven't been able to be reunited with your cat, but I'm so glad that Max was able to come back home and that there was people out there willing to help. And I St. Patrick's Day, literally lucky.
I mean, if I can name all the people that helped me and helped Max, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, this community of such a beautiful city, where there's so many dog lovers out there, and so many people were out there, and people that just took the time out of their day to help make flyers and drive around and help look for him, and the people that were following these Facebook posts. I mean, it was like Max became East Nashville celebrity over there because so many people knew about him. And I mean, once we found him and we were able to share our story and share, we even got quite a bit of donations for the rescue, that helped us with Max as well. And I even still keep in contact with them. Also, just kind of giving them updates on Max's life over here. I said, yeah,
Well, he seems to be doing great, and I thank you so much for being open and willing to share that because that's I can't even imagine. I can't even sit there and say what I would do. I thank you for sharing.
yeah, definitely.
Well,
It was a very hard time, but
yeah.
even my husband, he was just like, Max is my dog, right? But my husband was just like, we got to find him. He's like,
Mhm.
I know how much he means to the family, and we got to find him. And here he is, huh? And he's been great ever since. I think he learned his lesson of jumping fences because he doesn't jump fences anymore.
Oh, good. I am so glad to hear.
Right. We don't jump fences no more, huh? No.
Well, on to happier things. I heard that Max recently, out in Southern California in San Diego County, you actually brought Max to one of Dogs on Deployment's Operation Pet Wellness events. And for our listeners that are not familiar, that is an event that we actually partner with SNAP Spay and Neuter of San Diego in San Diego County to bring free spay and neuter services as well as vaccines and microchipping to military families in the San Diego County area. Can you walk us through that experience and how did it go for you and Max?
Hi, yeah, that was a really great experience. It was one of the same thing. I was just scrolling through Facebook and I saw the event, um, knowing that Max and my other dog as well needed to get their vaccinations up to date. Um, so yeah, I booked our appointment. I told my husband, "Hey, this is what we're doing this day. We're driving up and we're gonna get the dogs their vaccinations." And he's like, "Okay." Again, we have four kids, so we loaded up our four kids, our two dogs, drove about 30 minutes up the road, um, and showed up. It was a really, really quick process. Um, it was a little adventurous too, since I guess Max had gone through his adventure in Nashville. He has been more skittish lately with strangers that he doesn't know.
I
Um,
would imagine.
yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
he accidentally bit the vet when she was checking his heart rate. Um, and then he actually bit the vet tech as well. So at that time, it was before he got his vaccinations, and me and my husband were like, okay, you know what? Like, unfortunately, we're gonna have to muzzle him. Like, this we want to make sure that everyone around us is safe, the vet tech is safe, and he is safe as well because he was so like his heart. My husband said his heart was pounding, like you can tell he was getting so nervous and scared and freaked out. But they were all so understanding, and we were so apologetic when it happened because we had known that he had been skittish prior, and we kind of let them know. But the fact that they were caring and understanding, and they were still able to help us and help him and get him vaccinated was really important and meant a lot for us, to be honest.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, SNAP is they're absolutely amazing. And if I recall correctly, we had North Orange County vet that also came out and was assisting us with that event. And all of them are spectacular. So I'm so glad that they were able to work past that. And hopefully, Max continues to adjust to routine veterinary care. Um, that being said, have you pursued any type of support for Max to try to I know you said he thankfully isn't jumping fences anymore, but with that stress that's happening at routine vet care, have you pursued any type of options to try to help him work through those situations? I know the muzzle works well for both his safety and everyone else, but is there anything else that you have tried to help him with to better adjust to those types of scenarios despite his unfortunate trauma?
Um, Not just yet. He is used to just being at home with us. It's kind of hard to go out and about when you have two dogs and four kids. Um, but it was recommended that we can take him to a vet and they can even prescribe him like a calming medication or something like that, like when we take him out in public. We also just give people like fair warning, like of his behavior, and we try to make sure that we can introduce him slowly to new faces.
Mm.
That way he can understand that like they're not here to harm him. They're not here to, I don't know, I guess take him or
Mhm.
whatever goes through his mind. So we try to take small like precautions and stuff too. Um, but definitely got to get him right into a vet. My son.
Operation Pet Wellness, how did it feel for you to be able to have access to free veterinary care during that event for Max?
Um, it was helpful. I mean, it is very expensive living here in California. You know, we have 4 kids too. That can get pretty expensive. So sometimes animals can be put on the back burner when it comes to vet care. So when that popped up, I was like, yes, I definitely need that. I need that for my dogs. It was definitely time for both of my dogs to get their vaccination. So I think it was really helpful. It was kind of one less thing to worry about financially to help with the care of our animals. That's that can get pretty expensive too. Vet visits and their medications and whatever else dogs need.
They're definitely not cheap, but the amount of love and support in return, I think, at least for me, I won't speak for you, far outweighs any cost associated with that.
Yeah, and they were so good too with all the animals that we saw. There's a couple dogs, there's a couple cats, and they were great. They were so kind. They were so understanding. It's definitely something that when it comes up again, I would definitely recommend to some of my other friends who have pets as well.
But looking back on all of your crazy adventures with Max and your experience with dogs on deployment for Operation Pet Wellness, is there any particular message or advice that you would give other service members and military families who might be facing challenges in caring for their pets while serving their country?
Um, Reach out. I mean, the best you can do is reach out, and it gives you the option to try to find something. I looked into dogs on deployment after I had heard about them, and I had seen that they help take care of animals for service members who are deployed and don't have a family member to help them board their dog or anything like that. And I thought that that was just truly amazing. I had no idea that that existed. Again, I've been a military spouse for 10 years, and to learn about dogs on deployment after 10 years was just it was awesome. So I definitely would recommend reaching out, looking into it, and giving it a shot and try it out.
Well, I definitely want to echo that for our listeners because dogs on deployment, like you mentioned, you got to experience Operation Pet Wellness, but that is something that is a little bit newer, so to speak, in the, arc of being an organization. We started with our Hero Pet Boarding Network that you mentioned for service members that are deploying, or I want to make sure our listeners know too. Despite our name Dogs on Deployment, we are not just in that box of dogs or just deployments. We will do any type of pet that you have, and it doesn't have to just be deployments. If you are going to an overseas PCS, and you can't take your pet with you to your duty station due to breed restrictions or there's so many different aspects that can go into that. We'll help with that. Even if it's you're going to training for a couple of weeks and you need someone to take care of your pet, we'll do that too. And but beyond that, I know you're a military spouse, and that's very heavily what we have focused on during this conversation. But I did want to make sure that our listeners know too, it's not just service members that our Hero Pet Boarding Network helps. We do also open our services to first responders. So if there are firefighters that are needing to go fight the wildland fires for a couple weeks at a time and have no one to take care of their pets, they are welcome to use our Hero Pet Boarding Network. Same with any other first responder. If they're going to a training and it's going to be some time and they have no one to help, please reach out to Dogs on Deployment. There's so many different scenarios that honestly, I'd sit here all day long and I probably still wouldn't be able to cover all of them. But we'll do our first responders to help, active duty military, same with our veterans as well. If you are going into medical treatment and you don't have anyone to help with your dog while you're away, please contact us. Your dog is important to you as well as us, and they're so important. So we would love to keep you together. Please just reach out to us, and Our eligibility, like I said, I could talk all day long and I won't cover everything. So if you don't see anything on our eligibility guidelines and you don't feel your situation meets those, please just email us at info@dogsondeployment.org because we would be more than happy to talk with you about your specific situation and see what we can do for you. It even applies to military spouses too.
Yes, and the dogs too, huh? Yes,
Of course, and the dog.
dogs too.
Well, thank you so much, Max and Rayanna, for sitting down and talking with me today. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing all of Max's crazy adventures, and I hope the next time that I get to speak with you all, hopefully nothing else has come up in the meantime. But I really appreciate you sharing your story and really excited to meet Max virtually.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you so much for inviting us. It was such a shocker. Like I said, we were just so stressed about what was going on at that time. And to be able to share Max's story is always something that I'd be more than willing to do because it was just truly in my eyes, I truly think it's an amazing story just to be reunited with this dog that just keeps on going. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting us in.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you have a good day.
Thanks, you as well.
Max. Hi, Max. You're okay? Bubblicious? Hi. You're a good boy. How's my good boy? How's my good boy? You're okay? Come on, Max. Let's go. Good boy. Let's go. Got him inside. Do you smell him? Hi, baby! Hi, baby! What you doing, Max? Hi, baby! Max!
Taxi.
Who's that, son?
He's like, "Where's mom?"
Hi, my baby!
Aww.
Hey there, it's Elisa Johnson, president of Dogs on Deployment. As a veteran and a pet owner, I know firsthand the challenges military members face, especially when it comes to pet ownership during deployment, training, or PCS moves overseas. That's why I created Dogs on Deployment. We are the only free-to-use nationwide online network of volunteer pet boarders willing to care for military member pets during their service commitments. We have one goal: to prevent unnecessary pet relinquishment by service members due to their service commitments. No military member should have to give up their beloved pet when duty calls. But we have one problem. We need you in order to help us achieve mission success. If you support the troops and love animals, you can sign up to volunteer to board one of our pets in need or make a donation online to support our Hero Pet Boarding Network. Don't wait. Visit dogsondeployment.org to get started, and don't forget to follow us on social media too. And hey, just because we're called Dogs on Deployment doesn't mean we don't help cats too. I've got dogs, cats, and even chickens, and through our network, we've helped every type of pet. So don't wait. Visit dogsondeployment.org today to support your troops and their pets.